guys, Amanda here, and today I'm doing a little bit of a test run. I did something like this a month or two ago where I did a little test run for some fancy event makeup. Doing a test run so that I knew exactly what I needed to pack, what my look was going to be like, really took a lot of stress off of me on that day. I found it really helpful. It was really fun. So I'm going to do that on a grander scale today. I'm going on a family vacation soon. I want to do another test run, this time with a day to night makeup look. I'm going to show you packing my makeup bag, packing all my tools and brushes, then using just the things in my travel makeup bag. I'm going to do a daytime look and then transform it into an evening look that might be fit for going to the theater, going out for some dinner and drinks type of activities. I'm really hoping that I can get that same stress relief from this process on a larger scale for a whole vacation. So let's start first with packing my bags. I'll show you all the products that I'm bringing, and then I'll show you my day to night transformation. Let's start with brushes and tools first. I really like to pack these specifically first because I already have my favorites very set in stone. So this is an easy way to start with a win, which always helps me get through any daunting task. I'm going to list the specifics in the description box, and I'm also going to link my updated favorite brushes and tools video, but I am packing my favorite foundation and concealer brushes, a big fluffy powder brush, a stippling brush for cream blush, and then two tapered brushes, one for powder blush and one for powder highlight. Whew, that was a lot of brushes and blushes. Okay, then for eyes, I've got a handful of my favorite blending brushes here, alongside a little variety of my favorite detail brushes. These are my little tiny blenders, smudgy brushes, pencil brush, things like that. And then a sponge, some hair removal tools, a lash comb, a brow brush, and a lash curler. All of that goes into this smaller case that I'll pack into my larger makeup bag. But before we get to packing that larger makeup bag, first I want to build myself a little travel palette. This saves space and it also really cuts down on a lot of decision fatigue by just keeping my overall selection smaller. I'm sticking to eyeshadow colors with a fairly basic mix of warm and more neutral nudie tones with just a couple of really shiny duochromes and a sprinkling of some chartreuse and lavender colors. It's been a really long time since I used some of these specific singles, so I'm glad that I have an excuse to put these into rotation. Not that I need an excuse, but I guess I should say I'm glad I have the motivation to put them into rotation today. One of these shadows actually doesn't even have a label on the back, so I'm not really sure what it is. Laying these shadows out roughly how I would use them in rows of four. So I'm envisioning each row as a little mini color story, but with the idea that everything kind of flows together. You're really going to see that in action during the tutorial where I focus on that middle row of the eyeshadows to create a day to night look. I'm also going to add a powder blush and a powder highlight into my travel palette. This is such a huge space saver for me to eliminate two compacts from my makeup bag. I know two doesn't sound like a lot, but it definitely adds up, especially for someone who uses more powder face products than I do. You could be saving a ton of space if you had your contour, bronzer, and maybe even like setting powders or more blushes. I'm actually afraid I'm going to be wishing for more blush options because I'm only bringing one cream blush and one powder blush. But I don't want to start regretting things before they even happen. That's how I end up overpacking. We are not going to let those thoughts win today. I know I'm going to be so focused on all the cool stuff I'm doing on my trip and enjoying that so much that I'm not going to care about my blush at all. Probably. So ultimately, this one palette is going to be more than enough. And now I have a little extra room in my suitcase so I can bring home some cool souvenirs or, knowing me, probably snacks. Now that my travel palette is done, it's time to pack the big makeup bag. And NARS just sent this train case shaped makeup bag over not too long ago. So I'm really excited to get a chance to use it. I don't care how old I am or how long I've been doing this, I still get excited for a new makeup bag. It's the little things. First, my freshly assembled travel palette goes in. Of course, I need my favorite sunscreen, followed by a light coverage and a fuller coverage face base option. Again, I'm going to list all of the specifics along with my shades in the description box. But I think the general packing list is probably going to be more useful to you overall. Similarly, I have a lighter and a fuller coverage concealer option. Then my all-time favorite face powder, it's actually a baked powder, so I can't really depot it for the travel palette, but it's my favorite. It's a must-have. Even in this big old compact, it's definitely worth the extra space. Then I'm limiting myself to one cream blush and one liquid highlight. I can always layer these with the powder cheek colors from my travel palette to create some more cheek color options for myself by combining them. Then, of course, I've got to have my beloved matte eye primer, some good brow products. I'm specifically using the Huda Beauty Legit Lashes mascara because it is a double-ended mascara, so there's a lengthening and a volumizing side. I do usually use both anyway, but it just feels like a nice way to have a couple extra options when I'm traveling. And then lastly, what is always the most difficult part for me, choosing my lip colors. I don't know why this is even harder than narrowing down eyeshadow for me. I settled on one tinted lip balm, one lip oil, one gloss, one creamy lipstick, and one matte lipstick. So I have a small but very comfy range of colors, any and all of which are going to look good with the eyeshadows that I packed. And with that, I'm all set to plop my little tools case on top, zip her up, and I'm ready to roll. Or in this case, I'm ready to switch over to Amanda's face and show you my day to night tutorial. Here is my no makeup face just to start off with. And I'm aiming for a truly day to night look, something that I can just add a couple more products on top, and that will transition me into my next round of activities. I'm actually anticipating being able to use something like this. I know this feels like a gimmicky, like 17 magazine type of vibe when you hear it, but I'm going to a city where I don't know anyone. I'm truly going to be a tourist. So it's not like I'm going to be chilling at somebody's house and chilling with locals. I am going to be on the going. I'm going to be staying in a hotel. I'm going to be dining basically out for every meal, definitely going to like restaurants for dinner and stuff. So this is feasibly the type of day to night makeup scenario where you would really actually use this. So I'm kind of excited to see if the things that I packed are actually going to work out for me. Of course, I started off with some SPF, and for my daytime activities, really all I need personally is some SPF and then my lighter coverage products. So I'm sticking with my Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Tint and this Salt New York Best Case Concealer. I love this concealer so much, and I love the little travel compact because I throw that in my bag and it is perfect for touch-ups. When you have the sunglass marks going on and off, it's springtime in at least in my hemisphere, so I'm always kind of blowing my nose or wiping a little nose drip or something, that's gross, but look, it's a fact of life. It's wear and tear that makeup experiences, and I love the little Salt New York travel compact. Then I just very, very lightly set everything. I am, like I said, I'm going to be touristy. I'm going to be in pictures. So I do want to keep my makeup in place and not have a super, super shiny look. I'm going for a youthful glow, a casual sweat. Okay. We don't want to be formally sweaty in our touristy vacation photos. Then I'm dabbing on a little bit of this Kaja Dewy Bar. I've just absolutely loved these. This has been something I've taken on a few trips since I got these. I think I've had these for about a year. I know I took them to New Orleans last year. I traveled probably with this exact shade too, because this Fig Smoothie shade is my favorite. I'm gonna keep my daytime makeup very light and low maintenance. So I'm just doing the tiniest bit of filling in the brows and then a very solid locked in brow gel. I'm expecting some breezy weather, so hopefully we can keep these crazy brows in place. And as far as my eyeshadow look goes, I'm imagining that I'll be doing just a quick makeup before I run out the door. So I'm not going to take a ton of time and I'm not going to do anything super intense. I'm just gonna brush on a little bit of this peachy color as a base and also to set my eye primer. And then I'm gonna use this really soft little beigey color. It kind of reminds me of Shroom from my Flora Story palette. And I'm just going to quickly sweep that into the crease and sort of all over the lid too. I'm just generally adding a little bit of shade and definition to my lids, but I'm not really being precise. I'm not going to do anything crazy with my eye look. Then using that same super neutral matte shade, I'm just going to smudge that a little bit under my lash line and define the lash line just a bit. From here, I could add any of these shimmers and just swipe a little bit of that shimmer over the lid and be good to go. But I'm going to use this soft silvery lavender shade. I like that this has a little bit of sparkle and shift and shine, but it's definitely very subtle. And then I decided to add just a little bit of a highlight shade as well to bring some brightness into that inner corner area. Even a subtle highlight there just really brightens and opens up my eyes, and I just think it adds a lot to my look. Now, this is the point where I would curl my lashes and add mascara. I'm gonna leave that step out since I'm literally gonna layer on more eyeshadow now, and it will look better if I only do my mascara once, all at the end. But this for a little daytime look, honestly, it was really quick and easy. It looks pulled together. I know it's gonna look just nice enough to make me look a little bit more polished in my family photos, my little touristy pics. But it's also going to be a nice base to transition us into an evening look. So let's turn this daytime look into a more evening look, shall we? First thing I'm going to do, more casually sweaty. Let's get business casually sweaty, okay? If we're going out, we're going to be in a cool little restaurant, a little extra glow, a little extra drama on the cheeks, and generally just touching up blush anyway is going to be a good idea for me because that is something that tends to wear off pretty quickly for me throughout the day. So, blush and highlight touch up, and then I'm going to deepen the eye look that's already existing. I'm just going to add a little bit of this darker matte shade onto the very outer corner, and I basically just smudged some where I wanted it to go, and then I'm using my original blending brush to blend it into the existing eyeshadow. It doesn't have to be precise. I'm going for a bit of a messier, more sultry, kind of smudgy look. I do that all the time. I promise it's not just a coping mechanism for a lack of technical ability, although it frankly is that. But it's just the look that I gravitate towards. I don't know if it's the 90s tween in me or what, but that's what I like. So I'm using the darkest matte shade to add a faux eyeliner as well. And then on top of that, I'm going in with a super shimmery duochrome shade. This just really turns up the volume without really changing too much of the color. So I'm adding that all over the lid and then a little pop of that on the lower lash line too. It's a subtle detail, but I feel like it really just makes my look more pulled together. And then because I'm a fiend for shimmer, I'm adding a little brow bone shimmer, turning up the volume on that inner corner shimmer. It's not super different from what I had on for the daytime, but it's just a little bit more, a little bit extra. Now, through the power of editing, I'm going to take my remaining daytime eye and super speed smoke it up for my evening look. Just the exact same steps on that other eye, and then the final glamification of my evening look is just amping up that lip color as well. This isn't a super dark color, but it's darker than what I had on during the day, and then adding some curled and mascaraed lashes really pulls it together. I honestly would wear this during the day too. Let's be real, it's not like this is some crazy over the top, super smoky glam. And even if it was, who cares? You can wear that during the day too if you want to. I know that I will, but this is definitely a viable day to night look for my trip. I guess the only way to know for sure if I did actually do a good job on this is to pack these things, take them on vacation, and see if I have everything I need. Did I overpack? Did I underpack? I don't think I'm overpacking, maybe on lip colors. But I'm really happy with how both of my looks turned out. I feel comfortable. I'm definitely confident that my makeup is going to last through being a busy tourist. I would love to hear what your travel makeup essentials are. Do you have certain staples that you rely on? Is it a time where you experiment more with your looks? Are you an overpacker? I always love to hear what you think about things too. So make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Huh? It's really fun to wear jingly earrings. I'm sure it's annoying to some people, but I kind of like it. Where was I? Okay. Packing outfits is a whole nother story. I did a really good job when we went to Portugal, though. I made a video about that and I loved my outfits and I felt so prepared and comfortable, and I did a really good job with that. That was 2 years ago. So hopefully we can repeat the successful clothes packing. I have a strong Pinterest board going though, so fingers crossed. The casually sweaty cheek is so strong. This highlighter is really strong. Maybe too much for some, but I'm bringing back the glazed donut trend from the early 2010s. Every time I wear a really strong highlighter, my spouse always compliments me on it. And he also will spot great highlighter in the wild and point it out and or like compliment a barista on their highlight. It's awesome. It's awesome. All right, my jingly earrings and I gotta go. Thanks for hanging out. You're cool and cute and smart. And I love your face. Okay, bye.